Hi, everybody. I'm Elida Zweidler-McKay, and I'm with CM Coach, where we're all about helping you take your career to the next level, whether that's moving up in your current organization or finding a new job somewhere else, or simply making the most of the current role that you're in. And I'm realizing my ring light's leaving a little circle on my glasses. So let's see how it goes if I shut that off. That's all right. Okay. So today I want to talk to you about three strategies that you can use when you're facing a particularly challenging problem or kind of a problem that has you feeling stuck or like you're not quite sure what to do next or you're not quite sure how you're going to solve it. So just to offer up that, anyone who's really trying to make a move into leadership or who's taking on a new level of leadership is going to face all kinds of challenges. And so having a bunch of tools in your toolkit for what to do when that happens can be really valuable in making sure that you have some go-to ways that you can address things and you don't get stuck in sort of ruminating or the yes, I should, no, I shouldn't kind of back and forth kind of things that we can do in our minds. So I have three strategies I wanted to share with you today. The first comes from an interview that I heard between Amy Edmondson, who works with psychological safety. She's one of my favorite reads about that, and Hal Gunderson. And this strategy came from Hal Gunderson, and he calls it the question burst. And so the method, as he described it, is rather than trying to brainstorm solutions to a particular challenge, you actually set a timer, and as a group, or you can do this by yourself, only focus on questions. So you've got the challenge, and then you just start to ask yourself or ask in the group, what questions do we have about it? No preamble, no answers, no solutions, just what are all the questions we can think of that relate to this challenge? And what's cool about that is without the pressure to try to solve it or answer it or figure it out, you at least start to get a feel for like, what are all the different pieces that we might need to dig into or learn more about or look into in order to really understand this problem so that we can solve it. So I thought that was a really cool kind of strategy. And he actually spells out like a whole method for how to do that. But the idea of that kind of question burst, so brainstorming questions rather than answers, I thought was a really cool approach and one that I've tried a few times. And it's been really enlightening to see like, what are the assumptions I'm making? What are the missing pieces of information that might be getting in the way of not being able to find an answer? Looking at questions really starts to raise, what do I not yet know? And some of the stuckness that I'm feeling might be related to that rather than to not knowing what to do. The second one comes from Daniel Pink. If you're not a subscriber to Daniel Pink's Pinkcast, I recommend it. He once a week or so sends out this short little video that gives some tip or trick. And this one was changing the way you ask yourself the question. So when we're faced with a challenge or a problem, usually what we'll ask ourselves is, what should I do here? And what Daniel Pink suggests is that we change out the word should for could. That if instead of asking, what should I do in this situation, we ask ourselves, what could I do in this situation? It actually opens up our thinking. So what should I do kind of closes us down, narrows us down, gets us to try to think of like the one right answer. But what could I do opens up a whole range of possibilities. And so again, it gets our minds thinking more broadly than if we're asking, what should I do? So I thought that was a really cool tip too. And then the third one comes from my own coach, someone I've been working with for a while, Lisa Tosti. And that is when you're facing a challenge, to start by asking, well, what do I want in this situation? And just letting yourself sort of brainstorm, what are all the things that you want? And really allowing yourself to have whatever those wants are. So sometimes we might feel like, well, what I want is a job that's really rewarding and fun and a promotion that's going to mean something. But what I also want is to have a really great balanced life. And we might tell ourselves that it's not okay to want both of those things. So we get a little stuck because we feel like we want things that are a little bit in conflict with one another. This method sets all that assumption aside and just says, well, what do I want? And the answer might be, I want a promotion, and I want this challenging, interesting work. And I also want to be able to enjoy time outside of work and not work forever, long hours, and really have time for my family. So once you've got that all laid out and you say, okay, here are all the things that I want, then the next question that you ask yourself is, what has to happen for me to have everything I want? And that's where the real interesting work comes in, because that's when you start to see that the things that you thought were in conflict with one another might not actually be. And you start to get creative about, how could I do really cool, interesting work and even get a promotion for it without working 24/7? Well, one thing that what has to happen is I have to get better about saying no and setting boundaries. I have to get better about prioritizing. I have to work in an organization that has the resources, that there's some slack in the system, so I don't get pulled into every little emergency all day long, or whatever it looks like. But that what has to happen question is how you start to turn those wants into something real, and understanding what part you'll need to play in that, as well as what part, what you'll need to look for outside yourself in the structures of whatever it is that you're stepping into. So I hope that's been helpful. These are little tools that I use with my clients, that I use with myself. I think it's helpful to have a number of different ways to tackle whatever is coming up for you. So I collect them and I share them with my clients, and I'm happy to have shared them with you today. If you're interested in finding ways to solve the challenging problems that you're facing in your career, how to have more of what you want, how to have more of what could be available to you, I'd love for you to talk with someone on my team. We would love to help you get there. You can reach out to us by booking a call at zmcoach.com/apply, and that'll take you to a little application page where you can tell us a little bit about yourself. And then when you get on a call with us, we'll talk for about 45 minutes about where you are now in your career, maybe where you're feeling a little stuck or you're not getting what you want, where you want to go, what you want to be contributing to the world, the impact you want to have, where you see yourself headed in your career. And if we can help you get from here to there, really step into your leadership and take your leadership to the next level, we would gladly talk to you about what that could look like. And if part of that would involve working with us, like if we feel like we could support you through that, we'll talk to you about what that could look like too. And if not, if we can point you to other resources, we'll do that as well. Because our goal is for you to walk away from that call with some real clarity about what your next steps are, and what that would look like and what that would take for you. So we hope to hear from you. We hope you're doing well. Have fun with these tips. If you try them out and find them useful, I'd love to know more about it. You can comment on this post or reply to this email and let us know how it went. All right, take care. Bye.